Franklin Delano Roosevelt to the stand.
President Roosevelt to the stand.
I'm looking to the cover and the other side of the auditorium, not the back side. Yeah.
Now let the record show that the witness assumed power at almost precisely the same time as Adolf Hitler. And in those 12 fateful years, their lives would be inextricably linked. In their hands, we lie the future of civilization. Your Honor, I have here the minutes of the Evian Conference, which I was to mark in the minute, however, that prosecution exhibit 1. Mr. Roosevelt, do you recall these events?
Cause, after the annexation of Austria, the Jews came under exceeding tremendous pressure from the Germans. My administration initiated the machinery for a conference to deal with the refugees from Germany and Austria.
Where and when was this conference held?
In Evian, France, July 1938.
How many nations attended?
32 nations were represented.
And can you tell the court the result of the conference?
The United States agreed to its full legal quota of refugees from Germany and Austria.
Mr. President, was that not the legal quota already in place?
Yes, it was.
Was the United States prepared to accept refugees from above the established quota?
Under the
Yes
circumstances.
or no, Mr. President? No. And you recall the responses of the other nations?
Denmark and Holland agreed to additional refugees.
Mr. President, with all due respect, the conference was a complete failure, with no significant increases in quotas for Jewish immigrants. Let us introduce into the record the official position of certain of the conference delegates. Let's see here. Australia. No Jews wanted. New Zealand. No Jews wanted. Canada. No Jews wanted. Peru, Honduras, Costa Rica, Colombia, Uruguay. No Jews wanted. Mr. President, who did you appoint as the vice chairman of the Evian Conference's successor committee?
The ambassador to Great Britain,
And who was the ambassador to Great Britain?
General Joseph Kennedy.
And why did you appoint Kennedy as ambassador to Great Britain?
We felt that he best represented America's interests with our valued ally.
I now wish to mark and admit into evidence Prosecution Exhibit 2. Documents from the German Foreign Ministry of 1938, 1939, describing meetings with Joseph Kennedy and the German ambassador. Now they read as follows. Ambassador Joe Kennedy understood Hitler's Jewish policy completely, and Kennedy himself mentioned that very strong anti-Semitic feelings existed in the U.S., and that a large portion of the population had an understanding of the German attitude toward the Jews, and that Kennedy was Germany's best friend in London. Mr. President, why did you appoint Joseph Kennedy as ambassador to Great Britain?
We felt he best represented our interests.
The fact is, you knew he was unqualified for the position. You appointed Kennedy because of his anti-Semitic and racist policy.
Objection! This is outrageous.
You know, prosecution, you are on a short leash.
It's all of us who have to stake about his key positions with Jew haters like Kennedy and Brexit respond to members of the jury, the failure of the FDR conference, called by the United States, purely for political and cosmetic reasons, sends a clear message to Adolf Hitler and his Third Reich that the Jews were not wanted in the United States.
That's not true. The United States has 3 million Jewish citizens who were welcome members of our society.
You say the Jews were welcomed in America?
Yes,
And the Jews of Europe seeking refuge from Nazi persecution, were we welcomed in America?
the immigration laws established quotas regarding the
Agent, SS St. Louis 6 Port of Entry, 900 men, women, children on board. Return to Europe not possible due to situation in Germany.
Request denied. SF St. Louis, you are forbidden to enter U.S. waters. We'll send Coast Guard cutter to enforce restrictions.
Request you allow children to disembark.
Sending cutter to enforce restrictions.
Mr. President, are you aware of the events in Germany of November of 1938?
Yes, we were quite aware of the persecution of the Jews.
And the passengers aboard the steamship St. Louis. What did you imagine our fate would be upon returning to Germany?
We were behind the lines in an attempt to secure entry into other European countries. I was a friend to the Jews.
Your Honor, I wish you call a rebuttal witness to challenge the assertion that the defendant was a friend of the Jewish people. I call Eleanor Roosevelt.
Objection! A wife cannot be compelled to testify against her husband.
I think the gravity of these proceedings should allow for some latitude.
Okay, objection overruled. Eleanor Roosevelt to the stand.
But the record shows that Eleanor Roosevelt was the spouse of the defendant, and she was intimately aware of his attitudes on the decision-making process in all matters relating to the governing of the United States. Furthermore, that she possessed special knowledge of his attitudes towards the U.S. immigration policies throughout the war. Mr. Roosevelt, are you familiar with the acronym NOKD? Ms. Roosevelt, can you tell us